that we're going to all be experiencing mind travel here at the beach as the sun is setting. So I want to introduce this amazing man who's going to take us on this journey. We have Hidary. He will be guiding us through a beautiful meditation, musical delight this evening. And so everyone just relax and enjoy yourself. We're going to be together for about an hour. And when we're done, it would be wonderful if you want to stay and question and answer. It's always fun to share your experiences, and Murray appreciates the feedback, so that would be lovely. And anyone who hasn't experienced this yet and isn't on the mailing list, it would be great if you could leave your email at the desk as you leave so we can let you know when the next one's going to be. They're sort of all over. We've had different venues, this one being kind of the most exciting one, I think. So I'm going to stop talking and let Murray take it away.
Thank you, Perry. Hi, everyone. Hi. This is pretty insane. This is pretty incredible. I mean, the sky is truly the limit. I mean, it's amazing. Thank you, Perry, for the introduction. And how many of you, this is your first mind travel? First time? Wow. Almost everyone. This is incredible. Then this is truly thrilling for me. I was driving over here bringing this entire experience to you here at the beach. And I was on the 405 driving down here and with all this gear in the car, and we had a caravan of about 4 cars with all the gear. And I just was like overcome emotionally with what we're going to experience here tonight. And I was really moved by kind of what I put out there and the reception that it's having. This month marks the 1-year anniversary of the first mind travel performance. So some of you were at that first one, and it's been an incredible year of performances of mind travel all over the world, literally, from New York to LA and many cities in between. I even have my friend Laura here, who just surprised me today from Germany, where I performed last November and that she organized. So wonderful to see you. And we'll be going back to Germany later this year. So bringing mind travel experience across the world, connecting with people through music. And that brings me to something I want to talk about briefly before we start. Again, as Perry said, we'll be here together for about an hour. And I want to talk about relationship. And part of why I wanted to have this experience here at the beach is there's nothing more inspiring to be near the ocean and to have this glorious sunset here with us. The sun, the ocean, they're just incredibly inspiring. It's part of why I moved to California from New York. And there's just something so powerful about being here and bringing music to this space and doing it as a community here together. The idea for the headphones came to me because I was trying to figure out, do I get a real piano down here? Okay, maybe we'll get speakers, but like the acoustics are terrible because it's like windy and speakers wouldn't sound great. And then I was like, there's zoning issues. If we're too loud, people can complain and shut it down. So I was like, well, what if we used headphones and actually had a true mind travel individually, creating a very intimate experience, but doing it together as a group? There's something very powerful about that, the juxtaposition of the individual experience coupled together with the community experience. And I want to take this notion of relationship a step further. Nature. Emerson wrote an essay about nature. He called it Nature. This is 150 years ago he wrote this. It was the piece that then inspired Thoreau, who lived at Walden Pond for 2 years and wrote about his relationship with nature. How prescient. Emerson wrote that our relationship as humans with nature needs to be addressed, needed to be looked at. This is back in the 1800s. He said we need to connect more closely with nature and through that gain inspiration. And that was the birth of transcendentalism, the movement that Emerson started. And today we talk about transcendence, we talk about transformation. We have these words in our vocabulary, in our vernacular, but they come back from 150 years ago, from some of the greatest thinkers, the greatest writers, the greatest philosophers of our time, and that kept influencing the next generation. Emerson influencing Thoreau, and on and on. And we have that tradition here with us. But we're just catching up to the sun. We're just catching up to the ocean, who's been here long before we were. And so here we are together, coming together, and we're just catching up to where nature has been since eternity. Relationship goes a step further. When I think about the sun, of course it gives us life, it gives us energy, literally. I think about gravity, the word gravity. Gravity has an attraction to it. There's an inherent relationship with gravity. Two bodies that have gravity attract each other. Actually, if two of us are standing next to each other, now you'd have to be under a millimeter away, about 3/4 of a millimeter away. But at that distance, which there is a space between us at that distance, all however minute, at that distance, the atoms in our body actually are attracted to each other, like physically, in the same proportion as us and the sun. There is a relationship, a bringing together. But I want to tell you a story, to me, which is one of the most magnificent stories of unrequited love. What is gravity? Well, Newton thought he figured out what gravity was back in the 1600s, and he wrote it eloquently, mathematically, in the Principia, was his seminal book. And it turns out, a few hundred years later, he was proven wrong by none other than, of course, Albert Einstein, who exactly 100 years ago, back in 1915, after 8 years of incredible thought experiments, achieved his greatest life achievement, which was the theory of general relativity. Special relativity, he did in 1905, talked about time dilation, stretching of time, and then general relativity was his masterful piece about gravity. And what was his insight? His insight was magnificent. His insight was that a body of mass, like the sun, actually warps space, actually bends the fabric of space-time. That if you would imagine, kind of like this bowl, well, imagine at first space is a flat sheet. Now, of course, imagine this three-dimensionally. And then a body like the sun is inserted into that space, and around it, it stretches and pushes out space in an expansive move. And so that insight, which has now been proven, is just magnificent. Now, why are we on Earth in orbit around the sun? Well, because we're essentially a little marble that is spinning around this bowl that the sun has created for us. Essentially, we're eternally falling in this bowl, round and round and round and round. All the Earth wants to do is merge with the sun. It wants to come together, and likewise the sun to the Earth. But its perfection of that elliptical orbit never allows it to actually come into contact, to get closer. And so to me, this dynamic, dependent relationship continues on and on because of this gravity, this warping of space, and the two will never meet. Well, ultimately, in about 4 billion years, when the sun explodes, it'll consume us all in a fiery ball of hellish heat and whatever. We won't be around for that. But anyway, like I said, relationships. By the way, I could see you all laughing and hear you all laughing, but none of you know that each other are laughing. And so I just want you to know that everyone was just laughing, and I'm incredibly funny. And so I just wanted to make sure that was clear. You're doing it again, by the way. Yeah. Well, it's funny. Like I can see you. You can't really see each other. So relationship. And so here we are in relationship with the sun, the relationship with the ocean. And I'm going to play for about the next close to an hour. And one thing I'm going to be thinking about is something that Alan Watts, the Zen philosopher, said. And he talked about how we are an expression of the universe in the same way that a wave is an expression and connected to the ocean. And so we're just not islands. We're not individuals into all of ourselves. We're of something much larger. And that's what I am going to be working on to connect with here. Mind travel has been a personal practice of mine for years. And in the last year, I've chosen to share it out in the world. And I'm just grateful to so many who not only get it, but also help amplify it further. I want to make one special acknowledgement to my friend Thomas Coolhouse, who's lying down in the back. There he is. Thomas is an incredible director. He is just finished cutting and editing a film about Rem Koolhaas, the very well-known and great architect, Dutch architect. And I have the honor and privilege of scoring the music for this documentary, and we're working on this project right now, and it's absolute thrill and honor to do it. It's a beautiful film, and I can't wait to put it out there in the world with you, and it's really incredible. So thank you for getting the music. Absolutely. They're clapping for you, by the way. Yeah. Absolutely. So we'll do a little Q&A at the end. We'll pass the microphone around so people can share their experience. And of course, feel free to stay around. We'll put some music back on here afterwards to socialize. There's water and stuff in the back. And just enjoy yourselves. Feel free to close your eyes, lie down. This is your night. So thank you, and I'll see you at the other side of this mind travel.